Good morning. Welcome to First Christian Church. We have just a few announcements to share with you today. This Wednesday is the last day to sign up for the Indianapolis Indians baseball game on August 27th. So far, there are about 30 people signed up to go. We have 50 seats reserved, so you don't want to miss this. Make sure that you put your name on the sign-up list today. The next FCC board meeting is Saturday, August 12th. Everyone's welcome to attend. It'll be held in the FCC offices at 9 a.m. We're gearing up for another exciting Operation Christmas Child season. We'll be having 2 work days, one August 12th and another October 7th, both from 1 to 4 in the FCC Fellowship Hall. Everyone is invited to help. Summer is wrapping up, and it's time to get students signed up for the FCC preschool. Enrollment forms may be found online. The first day of preschool will be August 14th. Also, we're looking forward to offering after-school care to students in kindergarten through 6th grade. Cost is only $6 a day and includes transportation from a local elementary school, a snack, homework help, games, and more, all in a safe and positive environment. Find enrollment forms online. Hurry! School for Jennings County students starts this Tuesday. Forever Young, our ministries for seniors ages 55 and up, will be having their monthly gathering on Monday, August 14th. The fun begins at 6 p.m. with a pitch-in dinner. A program featuring Frank Fletcher will follow the meal. Everyone is welcome. You'll want to be sure to mark your calendar for our annual Rock the Block party on Wednesday, August 16th. We'll be having food, a professional face painter will be here, a bouncy house, and more. We hope you'll join us for this free event and help us kick off our fall Wednesday evening programming. There are more announcements in your bulletin, and don't forget that we keep our church website, Facebook page, and Twitter filled with the latest and greatest happenings here at First Christian Church. That's our announcements. We hope you have a great week.
in college, when I would go over from Louisville to Indiana, and would cross the bridge there, I remember the monsoon that would come down. It just seems like as you're crossing the Ohio River and the water's underneath you, the water's on top of you, you can't see anything. And it's very nerve-wracking because it's not like everybody drives very well. So that causes more nerves. And so any storm that you can think of, trying to get around, whether it's driving, whether it's walking in it, can be a very nerve-wracking experience. But in Indiana, probably the most nerve-wracking is when you're driving in an ice or snowstorm. And it is nerve-wracking. I remember when my dad taught us how to drive in the snow. He took us to the high school when it was closed one day, let us behind the wheel, and we just drove in the parking lot. If we would slide, we would try to get it stopped and get it going again. And that was his way of teaching us how to drive in the snow. One time my brother and I, we were driving in the snow, and he was actually driving. And we were going around this curve. And we hit a slick spot. And we're sliding off and sliding off. We don't know what to do. The brakes aren't getting the traction it needs to. And we're right at this edge of this cliff. Now, it's not a big cliff, but it would make some pretty good bumps and bruises. And Aaron, at the last minute, pulls the emergency brake. And somehow it stops. And it was just like this pause. And the tires are almost off, but he's able to pause. And we were able to get it back along the road. We were both, hearts pounding real fast, so on and so forth. But when my dad was teaching me how to drive in the snow, and obviously this is how we do it today, you drive very, very slow. You're not going to go very fast. You're hoping not to lose control. And even if you start to shift just a little bit, you have that slight panic, and then you slow down again, and you're just going slow. You're just trying to get to your destination. And once you get to your destination, it's just this big sigh of relief. I'm here, I'm here. I made it through the storm. We go through some spiritual storms in our life. We get to the place where we're ready just to be done with the storm and be safe at home or at our destination. And just like with the snow and ice storm, we have to go through storms to make it to where we're going. One truth stands clear. In the middle of a nerve-wracking storm, life may get messy. It may get complicated. It may even be frightening. However, God will not be stopped. And that's what we learned in this passage. Now, we're going to talk about Paul. And Paul actually goes through this literal storm. But as he's going through this literal storm, he's going through a spiritual storm as well. So Acts 27, it will be behind me, but Acts 27, 15 through 18. It says this. Since the ship was unable to head into the wind, he gave way to it. We're driven along. After running under the shelter of a little island called Cata, we were barely able to get control of the skiff. After hoisting it up, they used the ropes and tackle and girded the ship. Then fearing they would run around on the Syrtis, they lowered their drift anchor, and in this way they were driven along. Because we were being severely battered by the storm and began to jettison the cargo the next day. So they're going through the storm. Let's give you a little bit of a background what's going on here. They get the ship together. Paul's among the crew. He's among the prisoners that were taken from Rome. Again, last week we talked about him preaching in Jerusalem. Now he is imprisoned. The owner, the pilot of the ship, decided he wanted to get the vessel out because winter was coming. And because winter was coming, he felt like he had to do all he could to get everything out. He didn't want to be stuck in Fair Havens, where they were, for the winter. He wanted to get on his way. Not to mention, there was a Roman centurion and some of his soldiers that were there, and they were under contract. They had to get back to Rome. So you have this kind of intense situation going where they have to get to the next place. They have to show up where they're going. So they get it all together and they leave. And they start out pretty good. They're making good time. They have all the supplies and everything they need, and they're heading off to their destination. But while they're there, the northeastern wind comes. And when they say that, it's a hurricane. So the ship is hit by a hurricane. And the crew is doing all they can to keep the ship together. It says they were battered and beaten up for days. And they were to the point that they were just about ready to give up all hope. They found themselves right dab in the eye, in the middle of the storm of their lives. Now they took a chance. This was clearly their fault. They took the chance. And even though it started favorable, they were making good time, they were doing really well, it seemed like it was a good idea, they would find themselves in a deadly storm. And when we talk about our spiritual storms, figurative storms, if you will, sometimes we find ourselves in a storm because we took a chance. Just like they did. Sometimes it is our fault that we're in the figurative storm of our life. We're going through this tough time. Sometimes it's because of something we did. We took a chance, and just like with this pilot, with Paul's ship, we took a chance, and it may started out fine, but then it turned bad quickly. We have friends and family members who have developed a drug problem that started with just one use of a drug. We have friends and family members who've had gambling addictions that started with just one roll of the dice. There are those of us who have hatred issues that started with just some dislike feelings towards someone. Sometimes, I know this is shocking, sometimes we don't practice our filtering when we speak. And we say something that offends people. And now we've damaged a relationship, and it's our fault. Because we didn't watch what we say and offended them. When we find that we need help, we will find that we need help to handle storms. Even the storms that we created on our own. We need help. We need assistance. We can't do it alone. Now, we got ourselves into it. But sometimes when we get ourselves into tough situations, such as the addictions I just mentioned, and there's all kinds of different other forms of addictions and consequences to our poor decisions, we may have got ourselves into it, but we need help getting out of it. We need help handling the storm. These men with Paul, they got themselves in a very, very tough situation. Now, it was their fault. They made that choice. But they would need help. And they would have to turn, in a bit of irony, they would have to turn to the prisoners that they were hauling to help them. Now, when I say storms, I want to make sure we understand what a storm is. When I talk about a spiritual storm, figurative storm, a storm is not a bad day. We all have bad days. We all have days that nothing seems to go as we planned. We all have days that create bad moods, and we're in a bad mood because of the stress of the day. But just because you've had one off day or one bad day, or maybe even a couple bad days, does not mean you're in the middle of a storm. Storms cause damage. Now, we know that on the literal storm, but our spiritual storm causes damage too. The storms in our life are the situations that we find ourselves that cause us to question who we are, question what we're trying to do. Storms in our life test our patience, our commitment, our dedication. And it is right in the middle of the storm that you may say these words or something similar to it. If one more thing goes wrong, I'm going to lose it. And you may feel, one more thing goes wrong, I'm going to have this breakdown. Storms. When you look at God and you're praying and you're hoping beyond hope that it gets better soon. That's a storm. But just like with the natural storms that we have, there's all kinds of different storms. The natural storms, you can have snow, ice, rain, thunder and lightning, dust, tornado, hurricane. But you know, we go through storms, the various different storms spiritually as well. Storms that are caused by divorce. Storms that are caused by illness. Storms that are caused by loss. Storms that are caused by addictions. Storms that are caused by doubt, by depression, by defeat, by division. A storm is a crisis. And a crisis is a life-changing event. A bad day is not a life-changing event. But a crisis is a life-changing event. From that point forward, it'll never be the same. Someone once said about a crisis does not make a person. A crisis shows what a person is made of, and it tends to bring true leadership to the fold. So what happens when we find ourselves in the storm? This first point, I'm just kind of telling you, you're going to go through a storm. Maybe today you're in the middle of a storm that was caused by some of the things I mentioned or something unrelated. But when you say, okay, it's got to get better soon. I can't handle one more thing. When you find yourself in the middle of a storm, what do? We learn from Paul. He's fighting this little storm. He fights. When you are in the middle of a storm, you need to turn to God and be willing to fight. And when the storm really gets intense, and Paul starts giving advice, it picks up in verse 21. Since many were going without food, Paul stood up among them and said, "You men should have followed my advice not to sail from Crete and sustain the damage and loss. Now I urge you to take courage, because there will be no loss on any of your lives, but only of the ship. For this night an angel of God I belong to stood by me and said, 'Don't be afraid, Paul. You must stand before Caesar. And look, God has graciously given you all those who are sailing with you. Therefore take courage, men, because I believe God that it will be just the way it was told to me.'" This is bold. I mean, this is a sermon that he's really giving it to them. Now, it starts off with, they're not eating. Now, why are they not eating? Well, they're in the middle of the storm. Maybe it's as simple as they're just not taking time to eat. Maybe it's because the fear and the stress and even the depression, maybe even seasickness because the boat's rocking back and forth so much. Maybe they were fasting, or maybe their supplies have been depleted with this extra long journey, or they had lost it in the storm themselves. But they were so busy fighting this storm that they were not taking care of themselves. So they were giving up hope. When you're going through your spiritual storm, there's many times that you'll neglect to take care of yourself. How many people that we know who've gone through the storms of their life and they stop eating? They stop moving, taking care of themselves. And pretty soon you see them so frail and weak and beaten up and depressed. That's what a storm will do to you. A storm will ruin you. You won't think about things that you should, like eating. You're just so focused on what you're going through that it's causing a tremendous amount of damage. But what are you going to do? Paul says, take courage. Be bold. Fight. Now, Paul's giving it to them. He said, I told you so. I told you don't go this route. I told you not to do this. Now, was this Paul's human side coming out just saying, I wish you guys would listen to me? No, I think he's reminding them, wait, I serve God, and God told me not to go this way, and you didn't listen to them. Finally, they were starting to listen now. When they knew he was right before, when they shouldn't have gone that route, and they went that route, now they found this damage, they know he was right before, now they're going to listen to him. And now, all of a sudden, they have hope. And God gives Paul the words that these men needed to hear. And that was this: you are not going to die. You are not going to lose your life. No one's going to die. The ship will be wrecked. And it will be a loss. But no one will die. And from that point forward, he lays it out, and they start listening to Paul. They know that if they put their faith in Paul, and they will be safe. Now, why do they believe in Paul? Well, because the Romans saw Paul and his actions as somebody to admire. The Romans admired people who found themselves in a difficult situation, but would stand firm, would be bold, would be brave, would be courageous, and not panic, not completely lose it. Because Paul was so focused, because he was concentrating, because he knew what needed to happen. And he's kind of giving them a boost. They listened to him, and they wanted to follow him. He was calm, cool, and collected. Now, this isn't anything new for Paul. Oftentimes, God would give Paul the words he needed to know in the nick of time. There's been at least 3 times that God gave Paul timely word of encouragement, because God knew that he could speak through Paul. And through Paul, he could send a divine message and could remind them, it's okay. You will not lose your life. Now for us, encouragement will come to you. Now, it won't come to you in this dramatic fashion necessarily, but it will come to you. Whether it's a phone call from a friend, whether it's a Bible verse that you read in your devotion this morning, whether it's a much-needed hug, whether it's just a note of encouragement, or a lyric of a song that we just sang. If you're discouraged, ask God to give you a concrete reminder of his presence and of his promises. And then step back and watch him act. Allow him to do his thing. Now, even though Paul really gives it to these guys and said, you should have listened to me the whole time, guess what happens? He ends the message telling them to cheer up. After trying to encourage, telling them they should have listened, he says, you will be safe. Listen to me. We're going to lose the ship, but you will be safe because I put my faith in God. Having faith means taking God at his word. That's all Paul needed. Paul just needed God's word, and he knew what was going to happen. Faith means relying wholeheartedly on the clear-cut promises, the very blatant messages that God is laying on your heart. The issue is not if you have great faith. I know we use that word a lot. That's not the mark of a mature Christian. That's not what we need, or someone with great faith. We need our faith to be in a great God. You see, that's what great faith is. It's not so much just believing and just knowing that God's going to be there. It's putting our whole entire faith in God. A great God. That was true for Paul. Now, in most cases, in the ancient world, a shipwreck would be a bad thing. But instead, God turns it around and it becomes an evangelistic tool. Now, knowing in advance, it would have been nice for them to know that they were going through this terrifying experience. Maybe they wouldn't be so scared. But then when they turned to God, in the middle of their storm, they turned to God. In the middle of the storm that you will find yourself in, or you're currently finding yourself in, pitch your faith in a great God. And you may sit there and say, I wish I just knew what I was going through ahead of time. But that wouldn't give you the opportunity to go to God. That wouldn't give you the opportunity to finally say, I give up. God, I need you. I can't do it on my own. I need to follow your leading. And that leads into this final part that we're going to talk about, and that is the fact that we have to be patient. We have to be patient. We have to fight. That's our part. But we've got to be patient and let God do his part. In Acts 27, 28 through 30, it says this. They looked astounding and found to be 120 feet deep. When they had sailed a little further and sounded again, they found it to be 90 feet deep. Then fearing we might run around in some rocky place, they dropped 4 anchors from the stern and prayed for daylight to come. Some sailors tried to escape from the ship, they had to let down the skiff into the sea, pretending they were going out on the anchors from the boat. In the middle of this midnight conversation, the passengers and the crew, which were led by Paul, they did all they could. They would straw the anchors to try to stop the runaway ship. Then Paul called on God. God, save us, he said. God, take care of us. God, lead us. And he's calling on God because the pagan gods didn't exist and their prayers were futile. Paul asked God. He didn't do it completely on his own. He asked God, and God gave him his guidance. This is a fantastic reminder for us that we must never solely do anything on our own and just trust our wisdom and skills. Now, we got to do our part. It's equally wrong to sit around and do nothing and just allow it to come. We have to do all we can to fix the issues that we have. We have to do all we can to get ourselves out of the storm. But we need to make sure that we're actively seeking God's plan and stay close to Him. Follow His plan. Now, the Roman centurion and his crew that were there, the owner, the pilot of the ship, they tried to do it on their own. And they found themselves in a sinking ship in the middle of nowhere. But when they were listening to Paul, who was relying on the great God, they finally put their trust in Paul. Of course, Paul put his trust and faith in God. But we have to be patient. Paul was patient. And it's hard to be patient. You're in the middle of a storm. The storm of your life. You're in the middle of a hurricane. But he's patient. He waits for the right time. Because God's time is not our time, but it's perfect. Now this will end up being a tremendous blessing for Paul and the crew. Because as we skip down to verse 42, it says this: the soldiers' plan was to kill the prisoners, so that no one could swim away and escape. But the centurion kept them from carrying out their plan because he wanted to save Paul. So he ordered those who could swim to jump overboard first and get to land. This was very serious. The Romans and the prisoners, this was something they took very seriously. If they would show up and a prisoner would escape, they would be in jail or even pay with their own life. So this was a horrible experience. This was very terrifying. So their thought was, instead of taking the risk of the prisoners going to sea and making a run for it, we'll just kill them now. But the centurion had a different plan. This was Julius, was his name. And he was impressed with Paul. And he wanted to save Paul's life. Now, he's the highest ranking official that's on the boat. So everybody has to listen to him. It was his decision to make. And the act to preserve Paul for his later ministry in Rome, to fulfill Paul's prediction that all the people would be saved from the ship, he says, don't kill him. So Paul's action saves the crew. It saves the Roman officers. It saves the pilot and the owner of the ship. It saves his own life. Because he put his faith in a great God. And while Paul did his part, he became a messenger, he became the cheerleader, if you will. He allowed God to do the best part. God always has a plan for you. And that plan for you is already in place. It's never easy. And it is very challenging. But God has a plan for you. And He will lead you through storms. I know we just want to sit there and say, God, can we just skip the storm? But then how would Paul have saved everybody? God said God will lead us. He will lead us through the storms. He's not going to skip it. He will lead us through. And the reason for that is because every storm you go through, your faith will grow a little deeper. Every storm you will go through, it will be a reminder of God's part is always the best part. And finally, the storms that you go through are temporary. The snow and ice storm, the snow and ice will melt. The rainstorm, well, one day it's going to stop raining and the sun's going to come out. storm came through. But your faith and your God is everlasting. We cannot allow temporary struggles to defeat us. We have to put our time, effort, and our faith in something that will last forever. I'm reminded of Noah. We know Noah. We know the story. Noah found himself in a pretty big storm, spiritually and literally. Spiritually, when he was building the ark, this took his entire focus. The community was questioning what he was doing. He had lost friends and family members because they thought he was crazy. Then the actual storm came, and he lost all his friends and family members. Let's not overlook the fact that when Noah and his family, when they were on the boat, they lost all their friends. They lost everybody, except for their own immediate family. So they were going through that storm. They were going through the storm of loss. And then the rains came. Then they were on the boat, the ark, for nearly a year, taking care of all the animals, doing all they can, working around the clock. But when they finally landed, and the door came out, Noah saw the entire world. He could make it whatever God's leading him to make. He stops what he's doing, worships God by building an altar. And God gives him a rainbow. And what that rainbow for Noah was this: God's promise that he will never destroy the earth again, and that's with a flood. That rainbow was a reminder of God's promises. Was a reminder of the storm that they went through, yet God saw them through. Was a reminder that as long as they followed God's guidance, just like Paul, they would be saved. I think for us, we need to remember that as well. That every time you may see a rainbow, or maybe you see the cross, or maybe you see something else that's nostalgic for you, it's a reminder that God's promise is always there. And his presence is always there. And he will guide you through because he wants you to be saved. As the musicians come forward, he wants you to be saved. He wants to protect you. I want to leave you with one quote. It says this: you can't predict what life is going to throw at you. All you can do is ride through the storm and hope to see the rainbow on the other side. That rainbow is God's promise. That rainbow is God's protection, God's guidance, and it's a sign that you have made it through the storm. If anyone has a decision to make today, whether it's to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, let's be a part of our church family here at First Christian, or if you just need some prayer, maybe you're going through a storm and you just need that extra bit of encouragement to see the rainbow at the end. This is your time. This is your time to make those decisions. You can come here. I'd love to pray for you. You can pray on your own up here, or you can stay where you are. But let's enter these moments of worship with our whole heart. These moments of worship, reminding ourselves of all the storms that we've been through in this life. That for a moment this morning, as we finish up our worship, that we will see and visualize the rainbow of praise. Let's stand and give God all of our worship, because we've made it through the storm.